WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City, a town square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios. Here's Josh Hennig.
Thursday edition of Game Night. We're back at 6 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle. We will get you the latest Eagles injury news from the latest injury report today. Plus, we'll dig deeper into how the Eagles are going to transition from their third straight loss into another opportunity for them to get back on the winning track, along with your text at 609-403-0973 is the text board. Your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank Seattle. And we kind of started this conversation yesterday when I was filling in on the Sports Bash. We progressed it a little bit today, and I'm sure we're going to have it tomorrow as well, is best Christmas movies. I got some thoughts on that topic coming up a little bit later in the hour. But first, I do want to get you the latest Eagles news because, today was the first day we got the full injury report for the Birds. And if I'm not being honest, I think there were some good and bad things on this injury report that we have to address here on Game Night. The first thing I want to address is who actually did not practice today, okay? No Zach Cunningham, no Landon Dickerson, no Nicholas Morrow, no Darius Slay, no Devonta Smith. Now, Slay and Dickerson, we already knew they weren't practicing. It was kind of a well-known deal, right? It was... So, here's how I'm going to break it down. We already knew that Slay and Dickerson were not going to be available because of their surgeries, right? Dickerson, surgery on his thumb, Slay, the procedure on his knee, okay? So those are two guys, that's no surprise. But some of the other names are very interesting to keep an eye on. Zach Cunningham still not practicing with a knee issue. And remember, I told you guys that I'm wondering if what he injured with his knee has anything to do with his hamstring, because again, if it's the same leg, well, there's two different scenarios. If it's the same leg he injured the hamstring, then this might be an overcompensation on that leg, and he just stepped wrong. If it's the knee on the other leg, then his hamstring is actually not 100% on the one leg, and now he's got two banged up wheels, and both of his legs are a little jacked up right now. So there's two different concerns there that could be going on with him. Nicholas Morrow not practicing is concerning just for the general purpose of, if there's no Morrow, you're basically your best blitzing linebacker for a game this weekend, coming up for the Eagles. And Smith, I'm moderately concerned because I don't want to see them without him. But I think the bigger names to look at are Cunningham and Morrow because they play the same position. And if both of those guys are not available, you have a lot of questions now about what is going on at linebacker. Is Shaq Leonard up to the task of handling such a large workload? Now, the good news is Cam Jurgens, full participant at practice. Huge news for the Eagles. I guess the pectoral injury he sustained was not as big a deal as we previously were concerned about, which means that if he is not as banged up as he was, at least you will only be down one offensive lineman and not two for the upcoming game. Because remember, you're going against Wink Martindale. And I talked about it with Jeff Mosher yesterday on the Inside the Birds, from the Inside the Birds podcast, Eagles Insider, when I was filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig back here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN on a Thursday night. Jeff was talking about how Martindale is a guy who does a lot of unique, exotic, he does a lot of unique and exotic play calls when it comes to his defense. And so knowing that, it leaves you to be curious to say, okay, well, if this is the kind of play caller he is, and if this is the kind of style that he does, then is there a possibility that that could be another layer of challenge for Philadelphia? And if you're down 2 offensive linemen, that makes dealing with that defense, it's not like the defense is elite, okay? They have some good players over there like Dexter Lawrence, but it's the fact that the Eagles, they have now lost 3 straight games in which they have not been able to score at least 21 points. When the Eagles have scored 21 points this year or more, they are 10-0. So 21 points is like the Mason-Dixon line for the Birds. It's the line that they have to get to offensively. And for a team that has not given you any real answers, that has not given you any real solutions, that has not given you any real hope beyond 1 or 2 offensive drives in the last few weeks, you need to be able to handle whatever comes at you. And if you have a defensive coordinator who is not calling a prototypical defense, and you've been struggling against prototypical defenses, well, I think that 2 + 2 in that case equals 4. I'm just saying, it's something to keep an eye on. But the good news, Cam Jurgens is back. It looks like he will be back in it for the Eagles when they play the Giants. Of course, you hear the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 3 p.m. on Christmas Day. Of course, we will have the Sixers game versus the Heat following the Eagles games on Christmas night right here in home for the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, as well as the NFL and college football, 97.3 ESPN. The other point about the Eagles and the injury report to keep an eye on is the news came out earlier today that Avonte Maddox has been activated from the injured list to that, not activated, but his 21-day practice window has been open, allowing him to potentially be activated for game action soon. And my question with Maddox is, this was a guy when he sustained the injury, the assumption was he was going to miss the entire season. So are they allowing him to practice with the idea that he could come back maybe in one of the final games to ramp him up for the postseason? Because I'll tell you right now, Avonte Maddox is sorely missed from this defense. He is hands down their best nickel interior corner, and without him on the field, they have struggled immensely at times. And if you have an Eagles defense that can have a healthy Avonte Maddox back on the field, now you're putting less stress on Slay. You're putting less stress on Bradbury and less stress on the safeties like Byard and Blankenship. Now you have another guy that's dependable. Because no offense to Bradley Roby, but he has been very inconsistent. And when Roby was injured, they went through basically the law firm of Gardner, Ricks, and Brown out there playing that corner slot, and none of them were really that effective. By the way, Goodrich played out there too. I forgot about him for a moment. So now if you have the starter being Avonte Maddox and the backup being Bradley Roby, that changes things. Now when you play a team potentially in the postseason like the Cowboys, like the 49ers, your defense is now able to match up a lot better with them. Now, that's no guarantee of anything, because if we're being honest, when I look at the Eagles, I'm more than aware that this Eagles team has limitations. And part of those limitations are the reality that I don't know how good Patricia is as a play caller. I really don't. I know Patricia spoke today, and he didn't really give away a lot of specific information, but he sounded like a guy who at least was aware of how odd and weird the situation he is in right now. But I already saw last week you didn't handle James Bradbury properly, and I keep asking this question all week. I know I wasn't in here on Tuesday, but I was talking with people I know off the air, and I said, why are they not using Bradbury properly? Why are they trying to play Bradbury like he's Slay? They're two different players. I never understood why anyone would play if you have a player and he has a specific skill set that is his strength, and then you don't use him with that skill set, isn't that bad management? Isn't that bad coaching? Well, Desai and Patricia both used Bradbury in a role that is not his strength. Bradbury is an elite zone corner. He is not an elite man coverage corner. And so what you're asking a guy to do is do something that makes him look bad. And so then the fans say, he's a bum, he stinks. He's not a bum or he stinks. You're asking a guy who is a utility vehicle to be a sports car. It's not who he is. It's not his strength or his skill set, I should say. So I don't understand, why they're doing that. Hopefully they can make an adjustment in the next few weeks. They can get into a better state of mind when it comes to how they run this defense. Because as of right now, this defense is, bizarre. There are times they look really good, like they did on Monday night in the first half, and there are other times they're getting shredded by Drew Lock. And it's not a negative against any of the teams they played, but I just have trouble believing that a team with this much talent is this bad. So there's got to be something that's messing them up. And as I said earlier this week here on 97.3 ESPN, Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Thursday. I've said it all week. I don't care what you have to do. I don't care what you have to say. You got to do something to push this train down the train tracks in the direction that allows you to execute at the level that you're capable of. So if guys got to be disgruntled, if Jalen Hurts needs to call people out, whatever's got to be done, it's got to be done. And Nick Sirianni, as of right now, is not giving me a lot of confidence because he is the embodiment, Nick Sirianni, of the definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. So unless Nick Sirianni is just lying to everybody at the podium, I do have some concerns about the Eagles moving forward. Coming up the other side, we'll dig deeper into it with NJ Advanced Media's Eagles beat writer Chris Franklin. And of course, we'll get to your text messages a little bit later this hour. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Don't worry, I will get to Tom and Margay and others' messages coming up a little bit later this hour. Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN FM, hanging out with you. The start of NFL Week 16 is tonight. Sixers back in action tomorrow. All the action right here on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Runs it up and in. What a play by Maxey. High arcing teardrop shot in traffic and good. At the other end, McGowan rejected by Embiid.
It's Sixers Raptors tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers and South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
I hate free money and finishing first. Said no one ever. At Raceway Kia, you'll finish first during the Kia season of giving back because we're giving back with 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 90 days. And right now, get a 2024 Kia Forte LXS for under $21,000. Stop by Raceway Kia today or visit online at racewaykia.com. Approved credit with Kia Methods, excludes tax, title, license, and fees. See dealer for details. Offer ends 1/2/24.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer Jaron.
I'm the singer and guitarist in a band, and I use my Cricket phone for everything. It's basically like another band member.
Don't miss a single beat. Switch today and get a free Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial. Must bring your number to Cricket on up to a $60 a month voice plan, depending on device. Select models only while supplies last. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See store for details.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every basket, every game, every point, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. Whether it's a three-pointer at the buzzer to tie the game, or a player goes 2 for 2 at the foul line. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only, must be present in New Jersey. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM.
The holidays are the happiest time of the year. That is, unless you or your loved ones are miserable because of colds, sinus infections, or allergies. This holiday season, give the gift of better breathing with Navage. What makes Navage so effective? Well, unlike cold and allergy drugs that might take a long time to help, if they're effective at all, Navage provides fast relief from congestion in 30 seconds. It attacks the cause by sucking out the germs, allergens, and viruses trapped in your nose that are making you feel miserable. Best of all, Navage does it naturally, without drugs. Wash away your cold and congestion problems this holiday season. Add Navage to your gift list so you can breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier all year long. Ask for Navage at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, or find us online at Navage.com. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
With GMF financing, qualified buyers excludes Corvette, excludes prior sales.
This is the big one. It's Ben and Chevy's year-end closeout when you get our best deals of the year. But hurry, we need to sell 200 vehicles before December 31st, so you'll pay what our supplier employees pay, not 1 red cent more. Plus, you'll keep all the rebates. That could save you a whopping 10% or more on your new Chevy car, truck, or SUV. They're all on sale now. And there's more. Bennett's got available 1.9% financing, saving you even more money. And get this, now till the end of the month, Bennett is paying a minimum $10,000 for any trade, running or not, towards any pre-owned in stock. You heard right, a minimum 10 grand for total junk. Imagine how much you'll get for a good trade. And wait till you deal with our non-commissioned sales team. You'll love it, because they're paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. So there's no pressure, no haggling, just pure holiday joy. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Anjali.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just got an alert for a strange charge on my card.
No problem. We make sure you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases on your Discover card. Let's see. Did you purchase something from a t-shirt cannon store yesterday?
Absolutely not. No, I already have like 3.
$0 fraud liability guarantee. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard. Limitations apply.
Nizam's Indian Restaurant on Route 40 in Egg Harbor Township, the #2 ranked restaurant in New Jersey by NJ.com, is ready to serve you delicious Indian dishes. Executive Chef Sharma creates curry masterpieces with his chicken tikka masala, butter chicken, and shag paneer. His lamb akari was ranked one of the best dishes by NJ.com. There are also many vegetarian and vegan options. It's open 7 days a week, 11:30 to 9:30, with a lunch buffet on Sunday from 11:30 to 3. Visit thenizams.com for more info.
This week at Target, get all your holiday shopping done with last-minute deals on must-haves and wants for the season. Discover big deals on toys and tech, plus top deals on clothing, beauty gift sets, and so much more. At Target, find all you need for the holidays. Shop great last-minute deals everyone will love, and get what you need fast with free drive-up. Hurry, last-minute deals end Sunday. Score low prices and great last-minute deals now at Target. Exclusions apply.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, equal housing lender. You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Before we get to the text board at 609-403-0973, your DM 97.3 ESPN. Mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We want to get back into the Eagles a little more right now. Of course, he covers the Eagles for NJ Advanced Media. Get all of his coverage of the Birds at NJ.com. Chris Franklin is back on the show as we dig deeper into the Eagles' first three-game losing streak since 2021. And is there an end in sight? Also, it's been a weird week for people like Chris at the NovaCare Center, considering the way or what the coaches have and have not said in the aftermath of Monday night's loss. Chris, you have a thankless job. How you doing today?
I'm just going on right here. Here's the right way to describe what this week's been. Man, it's crazy. From the game all the way up to now, it's just it's hard to find different answers.
Well, I'll do my best to give you some adjectives, and then you can steal them for your next article. How about that?
Yeah, that's the worst part about it. I'm a writer. I'm having a writer about these adjectives. I think it's just stuck on West Coast time. That's probably.
Well, that doesn't help either. It's already Thursday, and you're still probably coming out of the cobwebs.
I'm still there. It's out of my mind. It's like, well,
let's go in chronological order here. When you and I spoke last week, the news of the Matt Patricia, Sean Desai fiasco, it did not happen until Jay Glazer casually mentions it on the Fox pregame show on Sunday. So from your observation, Chris, was there any legitimate difference in what Matt Patricia was calling compared to Sean Desai?
I think it was a little bit, nothing major. You saw more man coverage, and I think you saw the result of that on that final drive. What happened when you use a little bit more man coverage, but also when you just look at the one thing I did see that was different is you saw that there's a couple more player or two closer to the line of scrimmage, trying to slow down the Seahawks from trying to gouge the middle of the field, an area, especially passing, especially at the second level, an area where teams have had success against the Eagles in the past under Desai. So you saw little tweaks like that. You saw them try to blitz a little bit more. Was it effective? Yeah, not as effective as it could be, but you're starting to see little tweaks here and there that Patricia's going to start putting his touch on his defense, even though it's still quote unquote on the size team itself. It's very complicated. It was a very heavy thing, but you start to see more Patricia stuff as we go along.
You mentioned the little tweaks, but so the question I think that a lot of the audience would say that, Chris, is our little tweaks are enough. Like what this defense struggling with, how much of it was, scheme and coaching, and how much of it was personnel?
I think it's probably scheme wise, I think it's still 60%, and I think personnel is 40%. And the reason why I say that is a lot of times you didn't see that many changes inside of the fronts, and I think you put some of that personnel in positions where they struggled with. I mean, when you look at some of the defensive ends, and even though, say, Hassan Reddick has linebacker in his position title, he's more of an edge rusher, and he's effective at going after the quarterback, and then have him drop back into coverage. You start to question that a little bit. You also look at some of the usage in the personnel packages, and at times you see a lot of the backups that are in there. I know you're trying to save some of the snaps from your veteran guys, but in key situations, you saw a lot of the backups, the second line units in there trying to get rush and make plays, and then it gouged his defense in the past. They couldn't get off the field. So I think those, especially, but I think it doesn't take effect in account that also some of these guys are missing a lot of tackles. Their pursuit angles have been bad, and there's only so much that a coach can do and say, hey, we can practice tackling this donut or live, what have you, but unless you get these players to actually do a lot better job with that, it's not going to make a difference in terms of it.
Now, with that being said, we got the news today. Avonte Maddox is a 21-day practice window is activated. I get the terminology right here. So, for Avonte Maddox, which, listen, I wasn't sure if he was coming back at all this year, to be honest. Like, I wasn't I wasn't sure if he was coming back, but if he does come back and he is, pretty much good to go, how could he potentially change this defense, if at all?
Well, I think the first thing is the fact that he was a full participant today. I think that bodes well for his potentially coming back as soon as this Monday on Christmas Day. I think that's in the realm of possibility now. But I think when you add him inside there, I think you get a little more physical receiver in the middle of the defense. And Bradley Roby, he started out very strong, and now it seems like he's cooled off a little bit. He still do okay in coverage, nothing like he's just shut down in the middle of the field. But the fact that you can move him over to be like your dime guy now, that goes a long way. That just makes it stronger. And the two things, the areas that I really like Avonte Maddox when he's back at the nickel is, A, you have another defensive player who can actually string out the edge and turn the ball carriers back toward the inside where the more the help is. So it helps you in that run game. But also, given that we've seen Patricia using the blitz a little bit more, you have probably, in my opinion, their best defensive back who can blitz coming off that edge, and you can use different looks and different packages and scheme things a little bit better, and you hope that you get either a turnover or you start to come off the field a little bit more on third downs.
Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media covers the Eagles. Check out his coverage over at NJ.com. Joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN at C Franklin News on the Twitter X platform. Speaking of blitzers, I did notice Nicholas Morrow, DNP. He's probably their best blitzing linebacker. So how concerned should we be that now not one but two Eagles linebackers are DNPs right now this week?
I think the Morrow one, I saw him go in the Blue Medical tent earlier, and I think it's more of a nagging thing. If anything, the Cunningham one, that's one who's still, I'm putting red flags up, and I'm concerned about because he's been the best linebacker they've had this season, and the most consistent linebacker they had this season. And the sooner he gets back out on that field and can play, I think it just elevates that defense that much, considering all the linebackers they've had. But you're adding Morrow now, the fact that you have the guy who's your green dot, the guy who in that first game was talking with Patricia and trying to get everything set up now. Now you might have to rely on Shaq Leonard to lead things. I mean, he looked pretty lonely out there for the most part when we're looking at practice. He's like, okay, yeah, I mean, I've Zimmer and Brandon Smith. It's like, okay, yeah, there's one of these things is not like the other. When you look at Leonard, but I look at that and the fact that I think with Morrow, I think even though he got torched that one game, I look at him as he's been a steadying force. I wish he's not the most stout run stopper, but he's a guy who can go into space and can do decent in coverage for at least to minimize the impact that say a running back has coming out to the flat. So if they don't have him, I think tomorrow's the key day. If he doesn't practice 2 days in a row, then you really start to be concerned. But you saw all the guys resting as well too. But if they don't have him, you gotta be concerned about the Giants offense a little bit.
Because listen, the Giants offense is not elite. Okay, we're all aware of that. Okay,
right. Yeah.
But we saw the Saints smash them in the face on this past weekend. But listen, they do have that guy named Saquon Barkley. Darren Walker was a full participant of practice, so you don't want to give the Giants any hope in a game like this because then people are going to be drinking very early on Christmas Day.
With this, you have to get started 2 days ago. Numb themselves up a little.
Well, I'm trying to give some of our audience the benefit of the doubt, okay?
Might be a long way at this point, but no, when you all seriousness, when you look at that, you gotta have to worry about the explosiveness and the elusiveness that Saquon Barkley brings that Giants offense. Heat right now, pretty much. I know you got Tommy Cutlets or passing Paisano, those trademarks that he's throwing around.
He's a fraud. He's a fraud.
Yeah. He's got that. To me, he's like the Daniel Jones light in the fact that you can get he'll when things break down, he'll try to use his legs and if it's 3rd and 7, he'll get 8 yards. It's like, oh my goodness, he's the best thing ever. Look at him, he did this, and yeah, the passing yards are still down, which you can say about a certain Eagles quarterback now. But when you look at it, you start to look at it. It's like, all right, cool. Saquon Barkley is the whole thing that makes that work, and we saw the missed tackles that the Eagles had last week, and that's a big concern. He can really take over a game when you let him get going, and even if it's at home here at the Link, but I'm still a little concerned about how they can stop him, and it's gonna be one of those big games where you need like 2 or 3 guys to go in the area and try to bring him down and stop getting those extra yards after contact.
You mentioned the offense. We do have to talk about that said quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Obviously, he was sick on Monday. I mean, he looked at absolutely he looked like his head was like not even fully there in the post-game presser on Monday. Like that's how exhausted he looked. So I can't get too mad at him about the game on Monday, but I think there is a consistent pattern when it comes to the season that Hurts has not played his best this year, even though statistically in some areas he's actually better than he was last year. So how much of the offensive issues is on Jalen and how much of it is on Brian Johnson?
I think right now, if you look at the play calling, I think there's an aspect of that, but I think a lot of it's on Jalen right now, especially with the way that these teams are playing the Eagles offense. They're playing cover 2 and cover 4, and they're just basically saying, we don't want to get beat deep by you guys, make you go on these long drives and take what you get. And I think they're getting a little frustrated. Jalen's trying to force the ball down the field a little bit too much, because when you're playing that, like, especially, I know there's that still of everybody saying Gainwell leaking open that late at that. I think that you saw instances like that way before earlier in that game, and especially if he wasn't feeling that well and got out. I know it takes a lot to get back, especially with how sick he was, and the flu symptoms are pretty gnarly on that. But when you have with that one, you have to rely on a run game, which I thought they did a better job making sure they were feeding DeAndre Swift, but also just take the check down. He mentioned it today, and I think it's a very good comparison is the way this offense is. He just needs to be the point guard. You have guys that can get yards after the catch and run. You have Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Those guys can get yards after the catch. So all you have to do, take the 5 yards, take the 10-yard out instead of trying to go for the 30, 40-yard deep ball. You take your shots here and there, but don't try to consistently try to push it down the field. Just take that and keep these drives going. And you're probably going to have to rely from here on out until teams want to adjust again. You may have to start to see 13, 14, 15 play drives to get to end in touchdowns because they just don't want to beat you deep, and he's just got to be patient in order to do that.
Part of the reason why I ask about the Brian Johnson, and I want to present this to you. And listen, when I say this, you can tell me if it makes sense or not to you as someone who covers the team every day. One of the concerns I have is that I'm starting to worry that Brian Johnson to Jalen Hurts is what Press Taylor became the Carson Wentz, in that you have someone who has a good personal relationship with somebody, and that personal relationship may be keeping them from coaching that person at the level that they need to be coached, and that familiarity is allowing both sides, the quarterback to not press the coach and the coach not to press the quarterback.
From what I've heard, there's instances where Brian has gotten after Jalen when he sees something that, hey, it's not what you're looking at. He basically calls him out on it, like in the quarterback room. So I don't think there's that aspect there. I think it's one of those things where and this goes back to kind of what we were talking beforehand. Is it Brian Johnson, Jalen Hurts? Yeah, there's some things that are Brian Johnson too. I look at the way that, and I don't know if it's just him. I don't know if it's just from up top, not relaying it down to him. But there are so many instances where you're seeing these screens that are running, these wide receiver screens, these running back screens, where teams are just blatantly selling out now. So much to the point that they're not even respecting like the outside receiver, where you can go like, hey, do a fake screen and go up top, and you have 7 points if you lay out, get an accurate ball out there. So I think that plays a role in there. I don't think that, and I know there's a lot was made about his previous relationship with him and that one, and knowing that since he was young and after, but yeah, Brian's not afraid to call out people on an offense, and that includes Jalen as well too.
When you think about this offense, because Nick Sirianni, said this week, and I'm obviously summarizing a little bit, that Johnson is calling his offense. So, you wrote about accountability over at NJ.com, Chris. Is there something to be said for, hey, Johnson and Hurts, we're talking about them, but where's Nick Sirianni's role in all of this?
A lot, because he talks about he's in there when it comes to the game plan as well too. Like nothing gets by him before we hear him talk about so much about complementary football, the offense help out defense helping out the offense. Well, when it comes to him, it's just his system, and you look at the way that he looks at the overall game plan. He puts his stamp of approval for both, and that's where it comes to him. He also picked both coordinators. All this is on him when it comes to it. At the end of the day, when you look at it, so. yeah, this team has had success. They've gone to the playoffs 3 straight years under him and everything else, but also there should be heat on him as well too. And I think you're responding. I think when you look at that press conference he had yesterday, you start to see it a little bit. I think he's fired up, and I think he knows that the eyes are on him, and he's started to take the offensive a little bit in some of these press conferences. But yeah, I think he knows what's going on here, and I think he's feeling the pressure from the outside as much as he tries to say, hey, it's inside. I mean, you go get something to eat, or you go to the grocery store and have. He's like, hey, well, what's about your offense, Nick? Or hey, what's about this? I think he hears that because he's human. So yeah, I think he deserves some blame, and I think he's going to have to try to do something like that to alleviate this pressure. Because if this team gets bounced in the first round, I don't think they will. If this team doesn't improve and they get bounced in the first round in the wild card weekend, then you start reevaluating everything from top to bottom.
I mean, listen, you call it feisty. I call it childish. His back and forth that he had with you. I think it was with Zach Berman yesterday. I mean, it just, is for Nick, is part of the problem for Nick right now that he's never maybe been in the situation that, he's never been the head coach of a team that started out, 10-1 and went on a 3-game slide. Like the last time he had a 3-game losing streak, it was, early mid-season. It wasn't late in the season. So is maybe some of this, hey, I've never gone through this before. And instead of, basically telling you guys, hey, we're going to figure it out, he's kind of taking it out on the media.
No, I think he's going at everybody. I think he's going on that one too, but I think it's just for the frustration of losing. I mean, when you look at the way that this team has lost, and in fact, so I think for 2 of the 3 embarrassing, the Seahawks game was just a frustration one. They basically ripped defeat from. They basically lost on their own account. I think it's and he's very passionate. Like one of those things, and everybody, how you say everybody. Because like Todd Bowles, even Todd Bowles hates losing, but he's more calm. Nick's very passionate, very fiery when it comes to that, and he hates losing much. I don't think it's so much just taking it out on me. I think he's taking it out on everybody. And in fact, I mean, we've heard the reports about how he's been real fiery and with coaches and everything else like that from the other publications like that. But no, I think it's Nick's nature, and when they're winning, I think it pacifies a little bit more. It's more of a frustration thing, I think, if anything. Knowing that you've had team I don't care what anybody says now too. I think they should have been more. They should have been more competitive against the 49ers. And they should have won that Cowboys game when all said and done. Because I look at the way that the Cowboys played in those plays that they had, those 3 turnovers. You take those away, you come up with a little better game plan, which falls on him. They should beat the Cowboys. It's tough to do that each year, but they should beat the Cowboys. I think they have a better roster. So I think it's more for a frustration thing that he finds himself in that situation.
You mentioned the roster. That's the last thing I'm going to ask you before I let you go. Howie Roseman, obviously, he is the architect of a team that won a Super Bowl championship and a team that went to the Super Bowl last year. How much culpability is on Howie Roseman that maybe he did not hand Nick Sirianni and these coaches the best roster?
I'm not so sure about that, because especially when you knew you had to have Jalen, you're going to have to pay him, and that was going to take a big chunk of your salary cap. And the only thing, if you want to make the argument saying, hey, well, you should have started DJ, and instead of making a couple of those moves, then okay, you can make that. But I also think that you rather at the time as well too, that outer shell, you hope that the corners are playing at their highest level, and you want to play with them, as opposed to saying a safety, even though we all know that he came down and played the nickels, what have you. On top of that, I think the biggest loss was I think we're starting to see that the loss of TJ Edwards is affecting them a lot, and problem is going to be the money. So you either have to pay Jalen Hurts, risk losing even more of your salary cap the next couple of years of that. So I think he did the best with what he could, and I don't think that this is a lot of how at 6 when you look at the roster. I think it's a lot of the execution and the coaching decisions on that.
He's Chris Franklin, covers the Eagles for NJ.com. NJ Advanced Media Eagles beat writer, joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN at C Franklin News on the Twitter X platform is where you give him a follow. Chris, great stuff today. Appreciate you jumping on, my man.
Hey, thank you very much, man. You have a good one now.
I'll get back to the text board on the other side. I see text coming in at 609-403 0973. Paul in Ocean City, George in Summers Point, Tom in Margate. All you guys coming up next here on 97.3 ESPN.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One. Thursday night for Week 16 comes from Los Angeles when the Rams host the Saints. Derek Carr and New Orleans are in the playoff hunt thanks to back-to-back wins. Also at 7-7, Matthew Stafford and the Rams kept their postseason hopes alive with their own W last week. Spiro Ditas and Mike Golick will call the action on Thursday Night Football.
Listen to Thursday Night Football on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7:30.
Open enrollment is happening right now, New Jersey. Join the many residents who are getting quality, affordable health coverage through Get Covered New Jersey. If you need health insurance, this is the time to enroll. Get Covered New Jersey offers increased plan choices and more savings than ever. 9 in 10 people get financial help for plans that include preventive care, prescriptions, emergency services, and more. And many pay $10 a month or less. Find your plan at getcovered.nj.gov.
Pluto TV is your home for the holidays. Enjoy Christmas classics like Scrooged with Bill Murray or Last Holiday with Queen Latifah, all for free. Download the Pluto TV app on all your favorite devices. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
This week at Target, get all your holiday shopping done with last-minute deals on must-haves and wants for the season. Discover big deals on toys and tech, plus top deals on clothing, beauty gift sets, and so much more. At Target, find all you need for the holidays. Shop great last-minute deals everyone will love, and get what you need fast with free drive-up. Hurry! Last-minute deals end Sunday. Score low prices and great last-minute deals now at Target. Exclusions apply.
And now, a holiday wish from the New Jersey Lottery Scratch-Offs Division.
We wish you holiday riches. Give the gift of holiday riches. Holiday scratch-offs can bring holiday riches and make your whole gift list cheer. Give holiday scratch-offs to friends and your kin. There's over 41 million prizes for Jersey to win. We did it!
Share wishes for holiday riches. Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Parents are urged to think twice about gifting lottery tickets to children.
iPhone 15 Pro on Verizon and other Apple gifts. Time's running out.
It's your last chance to trade in any iPhone in any condition for a great deal on the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium and iPad and Apple Watch SE with unlimited Ultimate. Additional terms and conditions apply. Act now. Visit Verizon.com.
Thousands of stores across the country are pulling brand name cold and allergy products off the shelves. Why? Because an FDA advisory panel recently determined that a drug they contain, oral phenylephrine, is ineffective as a nasal decongestant. Navage offers a drug-free solution that's fast and highly effective at relieving nasal congestion caused by colds and allergies. Navage uses suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out of the other nostril to help suck out allergens, mucus, and germs. Nasal irrigation works, and Navage makes it quick and easy. But more than anything, it helps you breathe better. Don't waste your time or money on products that are ineffective. Trust drug-free Navage for fast relief to help you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier. Ask for Navage at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, or find us online at Navage.com. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
I hate free money and finishing first. Said no one ever. At Raceway Nissan, you'll finish first during the Nissan Thrill of the Drive sales event. Finish first with 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 90 days. Plus, get complimentary oil changes for up to 3 years with every new vehicle. And right now, finish first by leasing a 23 Nissan Altima for $259 a month. Stop by Raceway Nissan today or visit online at racewaynissanNJ.com. Approved credit. Offer ends 1/2/24.
Nothing slows my little girl down, except a stuffy nose. Mommy. That's why I use Sinex Children's Saline from Vicks. Sinex instantly clears mucus in everyday stuffy little noses with a gentle, ultra-fine mist designed for kids. Just Sinex? Breathe. Her stuffy nose is gone for now. And so is she.
Sinex Children's Saline. Sinex, breathe. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Booking Games in Ocean Casino Resort this football season. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer Jaron.
I'm the singer and guitarist in a band, and I use my Cricket phone for everything. It's basically like another band member.
Don't miss a single beat. Switch today and get a free Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial. Must bring your number to Cricket on up to a $60 a month voice plan depending on device. Select models only while supplies last. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See store for details.
New Jersey's got a lot of winter wow. Wows to knock your ski socks off. Wows to warm your soul. And wows to blow your mind. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
A psoriasis flare-up can make a walk in the park, well, no walk in the park.
It's that obvious, huh? I've tried so many lotions and creams, but I still have symptoms.
So those don't do enough to treat the inflammation beneath the skin, leaving you with those uncontrolled symptoms.
Makes sense, but what else can I do?
You can get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Make an appointment and, oh, you're already on it.
Hi, yes, I'd like to make an appointment.
Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get two $25 gift cards that you can use at Beach Buns Bakery in Northfield for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
Seize the deal.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Game Night here on 97.3 ESPN being brought to you by Jenkins and Sons. Plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. One call does it all. If you're concerned if your system may not hold up through the winter, or if you're looking to save money on your utility bills, well, call Jenkins at 609-641-6440 and find out how they can help fix your heating system before the next winter storm hits. Or if you're trying to figure out, is there a way I can save on my utility bills? Well, just give Jenkins a call and find out what they can do for you at 609-641-6440 and visit them online at jenkinsandsons.com. All right, let's get back to the text board. As promised, 609-403-0973. George Summers Point chimes in and says, hey, Josh, do you realistically see a way that the Giants could actually beat the Eagles on Christmas Day? It seems very, very unlikely 3 weeks ago, but now it seems like the door is cracked open a little bit. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the matter. By the way, wishing you and your family a very Merry Christmas. Well, thank you, George. Merry Christmas to you as well. If you are a fan of Christmas, which go check out my latest article on 973ESPN.com, where I wrote about some must-see Christmas decorations from around the area. So, but back to the Eagles. George, I think it's an interesting point you bring up because it does feel like the door is cracked open for the Giants. As I told Chris Franklin, Darren Waller was a full participant at practice for the Giants today. Saquon Barkley, he's still healthy. So, the Giants still have weapons. Now, the Saints did an amazing job at basically, shutting down any hope the Giants had last Sunday. If the Eagles can do something similar, then they will definitely win the game. I think the Eagles, they need to get a lead on Christmas and just extend it and just, put the Giants out of misery. That's the goal. And do I realistically see a way for the Giants to beat the Eagles? Sure, because I saw the Eagles fumble the ball 3 times against the Cowboys, and they lose in an embarrassing manner. I saw the Eagles choke away a lead on Monday Night Football. So, yes, it is realistic because I've seen the Eagles lose 2 games in a manner that is unbecoming of a team that is supposed to be a championship caliber roster. Now, am I picking the Giants to win or the Eagles to have a close loss or a close game? No, I'm not. But I do think I cannot ignore the reality that the Giants are a team that has, does create some questions, some concerns. Paul in Ocean City chimes in at 609-403-0973. Says, I bet the Eagles are really second guessing not signing CJ Gardner-Johnson. I think our defense would have been much better with him. Paul, I understand where you're coming from, but I will disagree because of this. I think CJ Gardner-Johnson is not here less because of his football ability and more because of who he is as a person, who he is in the locker room. You know, he showed his true colors in that Twitch video months ago where he basically trashed the Eagles, trashed the city of Philadelphia. He spoke very poorly of the organization and the fans. You know, he obviously has a bone to pick with everywhere he's been, everywhere he has been in his life, from college football to the NFL. He has had some very negative things to say about everywhere he's been. He is a guy who seems to have trouble taking any blame for and any accountability for his own attitude and actions. And I don't think the Eagles are second guessing not re-signing him because I don't think CJ Gardner-Johnson would have helped this team. I think that CJ would have made it worse. I think that his toxic personality would have become a cancer in that locker room. And I look at CJ Gardner-Johnson as someone who amazing talent, but not worth the money, not worth the hassle. He was great for a 1-year rental, and I think that this team can figure it out without him. You heard Chris Franklin say just a few minutes ago, if they stop blitzing the corners and the safeties as much, and if they only blitz guys who are good at blitzing, then you have less coverage problems. You know, one of the issues in the 49ers game and a little bit as well in the Cowboys game was, you know, I've listened to guys like Jason Avant and Quentin Michael talk about this on their Q&A podcast, part of the Inside the Birds platform. They've broken down the two former Eagles that they don't understand why the Eagles at times have had their corners and safeties 10, 15 yards off of the line of scrimmage when it's not necessary, because then you're opening up the middle of the field. You're opening up areas that allow opposing quarterbacks to pick you apart. If you are basically telling Brock Purdy, I'm giving you 10 yards to work with, have fun, what do you think Brock Purdy or Dak Prescott are going to say? Thanks, but no thanks? No, they're going to take advantage of you. If you give these quarterbacks the opportunity to beat you, they're going to beat you. And so I think it's more, to me at least, a play calling issue. And listen, Chris Franklin seems to think, I think some other people have said the same thing, that the Eagles defense did look better on Monday night. So maybe it is a play calling issue. Maybe there is something to do with what Sean Desai was doing that was not translating effectively on game day. And so maybe Matt Patricia can be the guy that can, you know, close those gaps in the wall, maybe fix some of those leaks with this team so there's less problems moving forward. I did want to hit on Tom from Margate before I get out of here. He says, hey, Josh, the best Christmas movie is The Gift of the Magi. It's only 30 minutes long, and it gives the Christmas spirit. Go Birds. It's from Tom in Margate. Now, I wanted to read Tom's text. He sent it a little while ago, and I feel like Christmas time is always a time we have conversations about what is the best Christmas songs, what are the best Christmas movies. So when it comes to older Christmas movies, I got to tell you guys, I am more of a fan of like the G-rated classics than I am of the more adult, not adult, because, you know, back then they didn't really have like, there was no Bad Santa back in the 70s and 60s, right? You know, with Billy Bob Thornton. I felt like movies like The Gift of the Magi were a little bit too predictable. You know, It's a Wonderful Life and all those movies. It's just such a, I already know what's going to happen. You're not really giving me anything extra. Like, the reason why I love A Muppet Christmas Carol, because it's fun and it's interesting and it's a different take on the same old story. So instead of giving me the same old story, you're giving me something new and different. I enjoy that. And if it's not an original classic that I can enjoy no matter what, like, you know, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or Jingle All the Way or something like that, and when it comes to Christmas movies, I tend to stay away from certain ones. Just personal preference. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I'm Josh Hennig. This is GameNight. I'll be back tomorrow right here on 97.3 ESPN. Have a great night, everybody.
This is the radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. It's week 16, and the Eagles welcome the New York Giants to the Link on Christmas Day.
It goes to Scott. Scott slams into the end zone. Touchdown Eagles, Boston Scott.
Eagles radio network coverage begins Christmas Day at 3 p.m. Maryland Mike call all the action starting at 4:30. This is South Jersey's official home for Philadelphia Eagles football. 97.3 ESPN. Brought to you by
GMS Law. Make the right call with 4 convenient locations to serve you and at gmslaw.com. Boardwalk Honda. Shop our lineup of new pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas online at boardwalkhonda.com. The Fan Zone at Sun Valley Pools. Unique fan gear and gifts for every fan of every team. Cape Regional Health System. Your healthcare partner for a healthier life in Cape May County. Jersey Shore Federal Credit Union. Choose better banking. And South Jersey Gas.
97.3 ESPN FM is your official home in South Jersey for Eagles football.
Do you love a good cigar almost as much as your family? Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but you can find that perfect cigar at Smokers Haven. With 5 New Jersey locations, Smokers Haven has the finest selection of cigars in the area, like Ashton, My Father's, Romeo and Julieta, Monte Cristo, and more. All from the finest tobacco leaves and hand-rolled by the world's finest cigar makers. All locations are fully open. Stop in and let them help you find the perfect cigar to pair with your life. See all they have and their locations at smokershavennj.com.
iPhone 15 Pro on Verizon and other Apple gifts. Time's running out.
It's your last chance to trade in any iPhone in any condition for a great deal on the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium and iPad and Apple Watch SE with unlimited ultimate. Additional terms and conditions apply. Act now. Visit Verizon.com.
Get to Black Kia during the season of giving back sales event. You'll save thousands with 0% financing, 0 down payments, or 0 payments until next March on every clearly marked new Kia. Like the all-new Kia Forte LXS, just $19,999. Why would you buy a used vehicle when you can get a brand new Kia with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty for under $20,000? Even if you think you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, we want to get you rolling.